You ever watch your whole world tilt in real time, with nothing but a flicker of security cam footage and the helpless sound of your wife screaming for help on the other side of a locked door? Because that's exactly what happened to me the morning those fake HOA cops dragged Heather off our lakefront deck. My hands were shaking so hard, I nearly punched straight through the glass trying to get outside. It's wild. All those years as a Navy SEAL, I thought I'd seen danger. But I never imagined the enemy would wear a dollar store security badge and smile like your neighbor. And here's the part that'll really bake your noodle. We never even wanted trouble. Heather and we just sunk our savings into a little cabin in Lakeside Pines, Michigan, after 8 years of bouncing between deployments and decided we were public enemy number one. See, it started subtle. Second week in, Heather spots Christina at the mailbox close to midnight, pulling thick envelopes and shoving them into her purse. Looked like cash to me, but Heather's the gentle type. She just figured, maybe it's normal, right? Except next day, clipboard Christina shows up all neighborly until she spots the Navy plates on my truck. The smile vanishes, and the real Christina slides out. The one who stares daggers and asks questions like she's got a grudge against the entire armed forces. You military types always think you own everything, don't you? She sneered, barely bothering to fake it. My husband died because of military incompetence, and I won't have veterans disrupting my community. And just like that, the welcome wagon turned into a bureaucratic firing squad. By sundown, our mailbox overflowed with violation notices for flags, decals, even my disabled parking permit, each one a not-so-subtle dig. At my service, this wasn't about property lines or lawn height. This was personal. The real kicker? Christina had a system, and I learned that from Frank, our 68-year-old neighbor who fought in Korea and still walks like he's dodging snipers. He sidled over one night, trembling, clutching a folder thick with years of Christina's handiwork, photos, emails, every ugly violation she'd slapped on military families before us. 4 veteran households, all driven out since her husband died in a training accident. She blamed the military for his death, and now we were her scapegoats. Now, maybe I should have packed up right then. But watching Heather's hands shake as she painted, hearing the way she flinched at every new notice, something snapped. We weren't just another statistic for Christina's grudge. I'd fought tougher enemies in worse places, and I'd be damned if I was going to let one angry widow burn down our dream. That's when Christina started sending her cousins. Jake and Rick, real tough guys, you know the type, could barely spell HOA but loved a shiny badge. They'd strut around the yard, snapping photos, jotting down notes. But it wasn't about the landscaping. They were scoping us out, documenting entry points, daily routines. It felt less like an inspection and more like they were prepping for a raid. You know what I mean? That cold, crawling feeling down your spine when you realize you're not just being watched, you're being hunted. Then she took it up a notch, a complaint to the VA about my disability, accusing me of fraud, of faking injuries to claim benefits. And the VA takes those accusations seriously. Suddenly, my entire service record, my back injury, everything's under a microscope. The community started to split. Some neighbors waved. Others stopped answering our hellos, buying into Christina's narrative of the dangerous veteran lurking next door. But here's where the story twists. Out of nowhere, Tyler, Christina's own son, reached out on a gaming app. Kid's barely 19, but you could hear the shame in his voice. He's been documenting his mom's operation, and what he shows me is chilling. Her home office, walls covered with surveillance on military families. Handwritten notes like, Navy wife works late Tuesdays, veteran has PTSD, leverage that. She wasn't just running an HOA. She was running an intelligence campaign, hell-bent on breaking anyone who'd ever worn a uniform. Things came to a head the morning Heather set up to paint, refusing to hide. That's when Christina showed up with Jake and Rick in laughable rent-a-cop costumes, barking orders for my wife to vacate the area. Heather stood her ground, demanding to see their authority. And that's when it turned ugly. Jake and Rick grabbed her, physically dragged her off our own deck, while Christina filmed the whole thing, narrating about aggressive military families. I was on 911, sprinting outside, adrenaline crashing in my ears. What those two didn't count on was 8 years of SEAL training. I used just enough force to break their grip, pinned one, restrained the other, made sure it was all on camera, all while Christina shrieked about violent veterans. But her plan backfired. Half the neighborhood witnessed the clown show, and Frank stepped up with a shoebox full of cash receipts proving Christina's been pocketing HOA dues for years. The cops arrive. One takes a look at Jake's ripped costume, badge hanging by a thread, shirt inside out, the works, and nearly laughs. "Ma'am, these men have no authority here," he tells Christina, who's suddenly sweating bullets as neighbors close in with their own stories. Margaret, whose grandson's in the Navy, finally speaks up about Christina's harassment, tears streaming down her face. But Christina isn't done. Within 24 hours, she hits back with a mountain of legal complaints, assault, VA fraud, restraining order, even tries to get my security clearance yanked. For a minute, I'm drowning in paperwork, watching the walls close in. She turns my service into a weapon, twisting it into evidence that I'm dangerous. And let me tell you, that helplessness, that's a feeling no combat ever prepared me for. But veterans don't fight alone. Bob, a Navy machinist, brings surveillance footage. Betty, an Army widow, shares emails. Frank organizes it all, and Tyler's recordings of Christina, ranting, coaching her cousins, even bribing her son. To destroy evidence, blow the lid off everything. Turns out, Christina's been running this operation across multiple communities, targeting dozens of families, embezzling tens of thousands in veteran memorial funds to fund her hate campaign. And the twist? Her whole network isn't just local. Tyler uncovers her Operation Homecoming files, spreadsheets with veterans info, harassment timelines, coordination with anti-military HOA leaders in other states. She calls them civilian protection advocates. They see veterans as invaders, and they're proud of every family. They drive out. The final showdown comes at the community meeting, where Christina tries to rally everyone against the dangerous veteran. But this time, the room is packed with every military family for 50 miles, a wall of support she never expected. Tyler takes the mic, plays his mother's own words, every hate-filled rant, every admission of embezzlement, every plan to neutralize veterans, and the crowd goes silent, then erupts. Christina's meltdown is instant and total, ranting about military conspiracies as federal agents move in, cuffs ready. Justice lands hard and fast. Federal mail fraud, conspiracy, hate crime enhancements. Her network gets exposed, legislation gets drafted, the whole country takes notice. But the real victory isn't Christina's mugshot or her prison sentence. It's the change that follows. Frank elected HOA president, anti-military rules thrown out, memorial gardens built, property values rising as veterans move in instead of out. Heather's art studio becomes a safe haven, our neighborhood a model for veteran support. And Tyler, brave kid, starts a scholarship in his father's name to help military children. He stands up, owns the past, and helps rewrite the future. 2 years later, I catch Christina cleaning a veteran's memorial as part of her probation, eyes empty, reputation shattered. "You think this ends here?" She hisses, still convinced there's some deeper conspiracy. But the only thing left is the community she tried to destroy, now stronger, prouder, and fiercely united. So what do you think? Was justice served? Or are there more Christina rights lurking out there, waiting to tear down the next military family who just wants a slice of peace? Drop your own stories below. Tell us where you're watching from, and if you've ever faced a bully hiding behind a badge or a rule book. Because sometimes the real fight isn't overseas, it's right here at home, and it takes all of us to win.